In this video, you are going to learn how to develop a simple to-do app using Yi2. We are going to use Yi2's basic app template. So let's go to yiframework.com and then click on the More menu item and download Yi. We are going to install the Yi basic application using Composer. And to do that, let's copy this portion of the command and then make sure you already have Composer globally installed in your system and open the terminal or command prompt and let's type cd and then the location of your web root directory. In this case, I am using XAMPP and let's open XAMPP's htdocs directory. To do that on macOS, you have to type cd/applications/XAMPP/htdocs. In Windows, you have to type cd cdrive/XAMPP/htdocs. We are going to type Composer and let's paste the command we just copied. And now, instead of basic, we are going to name our Yi2 basic app project TODO, our to-do app. Hit enter and the Yi2 basic app template is now being installed. And as you can see, the installation process was successful. And if we look at our htdocs directory, we can see that we now have a new directory, the to-do project. Let's enter the to-do project, cd to-do, and let's type again ls-l to see all the files and directories in our to-do project. Now let's open our code editor. In my case, I'm going to use PHP Storm, but feel free to use any other code editor. And now I'm going to open the newly created to-do directory. So applications, XAMPP, htdocs, and the to-do project. Let's open it. And if you look at the left-hand side, you can see the to-do project with all the directories and files. Let me just close these two dialogues. And now let's test our to-do app. Open your web browser. First, make sure XAMPP is running and that both Apache and MySQL are running. If not, go ahead and start both Apache and MySQL. Great. Let's now test our web application. Let's type localhost/todo and hit enter. Now we need to enter the web directory. And there you go. Here's our Yi2 basic app template. You might see that the login form is a bit off. This is a minor issue that has already been fixed in Yi2's basic app repository on GitHub. So by the time you watch this video, this should already be fixed. Okay, first, as you can see in our URL, the script name index.php is showing, and the pretty URL is not enabled. Let's go ahead and open our code editor, and let's open the config directory, web file, and this is our configuration file. We are going to enable the URL manager. And to do so, let's scroll all the way down, and you can see that the URL manager component is commented. Let's remove these comments. And as you can see, the enable pretty URL will be set to true, and the show script name index.php will not be displayed, since it is set to false. Let's refresh the page, and if we click on another menu item, there you go. The script name is no longer showing, and the pretty URL is now enabled. Now it's time to create our database. To do that, let's open PHP myadmin. Type localhost/PHP myadmin. And now click on Databases Let's now type the database name, which will be TODO, and make sure UTF-8 MB4 is selected. Let's create, and there you go. Our database is now created. It's also good practice to have a separate user account to access our database instead of just using the root user. So let's go ahead and create a user account. Click on User Accounts, and then let's click on this link, Add User Account. Great. Now I'm going to use TODO as the username, and I'm going to generate a password. Now let's go back to our code editor. And if you open the config directory, and then open the db.php file, let's change the default configuration, and our database name will be TODO instead of e2basic. The host is localhost, and then the username is going to be TODO. And let's type the password. Also, in the char set, make sure you change UTF-8 to UTF-8MB4. This is especially useful, for instance, if you would like to save emojis in your database. Otherwise, MySQL will throw an error saying that that type of characters is not supported. So let's use UTF-8MB4. Great, let's scroll all the way down and click on the Go button. And there you go. We have added a new user. And now let's click on the Database button. As you can see, add privileges on the following databases, and let's select TODO, the TODO database, and click Go. We want this user to have full access to this database. So in the database specific privileges, let's click on the Check All option and click Go. Great. Our TODO user now has full access to our TODO database. Okay, now that our database is created, it's now time to create our first table. To do that, we are going to use a YE feature called migrations. So let's create a new migration to create a new database table. Let's open the terminal or command prompt. And for instance, in PHP Storm, there is a very handy feature that has the terminal or command prompt built in the editor. Or you can just use the terminal window or command prompt window. Okay, so let's type YE migrate /create and then the name of our migration, which is going to be create_task_table. We are going to create the task table for our TODO database. And then type the fields option --fields, so we may specify all the fields for this task table, which are going to be the title, which is a string and not null, and the description, a text, which is a bigger string, and it may be null, so we are not going to set the not null option, because by default, it is null. If you got this error, command not found for YE, simply type PHP at the beginning of the command. And let's type enter. If you get this error saying access denied for user TODO at localhost, it is because something else is missing when we created our TODO user. As you can see, the error says access denied for user TODO at localhost. Let's take a look at our phpMyAdmin. Let's open the user accounts menu item. And then, as you can see, the TODO user was created using the AnyHost option. If you look at the root user, you can see that we also need to create another user with the same username, TODO, but this time using the localhost hostname. So let's click on the Add User Account link, and let's use the exact same username, TODO, but this time we are going to select another option in the hostname. Besides AnyHost, we are also going to select the local option so that our user can have access to the local host with this user account plus any other host using the other TODO user account. Let's now also use the exact same password. So let's open our DB configuration file and copy the password. And let's paste it right here and here again. Now click Go. And great, we have added the user that has access to the localhost. Now let's click on the database button. And then let's also add privileges to the TODO database. Click Go. Now let's check all the database privileges so our user has full access to the TODO database. And click Go. Great. As you can see, we have now two TODO user accounts. The one that has access to the localhost and the other one that has access to any other host. Let's get back to our code editor and let's execute the migration command again to create the task table migration. Great, let's now type yes and hit enter. And great, our new migration has been created successfully. Awesome. Now let's take a look at this newly created migration file. And we have the save up method and the save down method. And as you can see, it will create a table called task with the ID, title, and description columns. The ID is an integer and a primary key and is added automatically to a migration where we want to create a new table. Then we have the two fields we have specified: title, a string and not null, and description, a text, and it may be null, which is the default option. Now let's apply this migration so we may create the task table in our database. Let's go ahead and open the terminal or command prompt, and this time we are going to type ye migrate to apply any outstanding migrations. If you get this error informing that ye command was not found, type php before the ye migrate command and hit enter again. Cool. Now we have to type yes to apply the above migration. We only have one migration, which is the create task table migration. Let's type yes and hit enter. Great. Our migration was successfully applied. Now let's open our web browser and let's see our database in phpMyAdmin. So let's refresh the page, and if we expand our TODO database, or if you click directly on that TODO database, you can see two new tables. We have the task table, and if we click on structure, you can see the ID, which is a primary key and an integer, and is also set to auto increment. And we have the title, a string and not null, and the description, a text, and it may be null. We also have another table, but we didn't create this table. Well, ye creates this migration table automatically. And this table is used to keep track of any migrations that have been applied so far in our database. So there's the base migration, which is this actual migration table, and we also have the task migration to create the task table. Let's open our TODO web app, and let's copy this link and open a new tab. And this time, after web/, we are going to type GUI and hit enter. GUI is a tool provided by ye, a magical tool that can write code for you. In this tool, it can create models, controllers, views, forms, modules, and extensions. It's one of the most amazing features about ye 2. So let's create a new model for our task table. Let's click on the Start button in the Model Generator section. Let's type the table name, which is task. And if we click on the model class name field, GUI will automatically insert the model class name for us based on the table name. We are going to leave these options with the default values, and you can optionally enable I18N, which will be very useful if you want to make your web application translatable to other languages. I believe it's a good practice to right from the start of any web application to enable this option, because in the future, if you want to translate your web application to any other language, it will be way easier for you, because every single string will be generated using the etStatic method. So let's check this option, and let's click on the preview button. Now scroll all the way down, and as you can see, GUI will create the task model under the models directory. If you click on it, you can actually see a preview of the task model. Let's click Generate to create this model file. Scroll down, and as you can see, the code has been generated successfully. Let's open our code editor. And if we open the models directory, you can now see a new model, the task model we have just created. Great. Now let's also generate the CRUD operations for this model. CRUD means create, read, update, and delete operations. So this will create a controller and all the views necessary to implement the code to be able to create a new task, update an existing task, delete a task, and read or view any existing task. In the model class, we are going to specify the fully qualified class name of our task model, which is app_models_task. The search model class will be used to filter tasks when the user searches for a specific task in the main page that contains a list or table of all our tasks. So we are going to type the fully qualified name for the search model class, which is going to be app_models_task search. The controller class will be app_controllers_task controller. And the view path will be set to the default option, which is going to be the path alias app_views_controller_id, in this case, task. So let's leave this option blank, which is exactly what we want. Next, we are going to leave these options with the default values. And finally, we are going to enable I18N. Let's click on preview. And as you can see, GUI will generate all these files for us: the task controller, the task search model, and all these view files. All right, let's go ahead and click on the generate button. And the code has been generated successfully. Great. Let's open our code editor. And within the models directory, you can see a new model, the task search model. If we open this file, here you can see that search model with the search method. Now let's open the controllers directory, and we have our new task controller. The action index, action create, action update, action delete, all generated for us. Finally, we also have a new directory called task inside the views directory. So we have the view file, update file, index file, create file, and search and form. Great. Now let's see all this code in action. Let's get back to our web application, and in the URL after web/, you are going to type task/index or simply /task and hit enter. Nice. we have a grid view, a list or a table, and before we go any further, let's first create a new menu item for our tasks. Let's open our code editor and open the views directory and then go to layouts. Let's open the main.php file. And if you scroll down, you can see our navigation widget. Let's create a new menu item, and the label is going to be tasks. Or you can use yt's static function to set the task string so it can be translated to any other languages. And now let's set the URL, which is going to be /task/index. Great. Let's open our web application, refresh, and there you go. Nice. Okay, let's create a new task. Learn PHP, save, and there you go. Let's create a few more tasks. Learn Y2, a description, which is not mandatory, a cute emoji. Let's open the tasks index page. Great. Let's create a few more tasks. Awesome. Washing the dishes. And organize my desk. And there you go. Cool. Let's now view a task. Awesome. Let's update an existing task. Y2 is amazing. Save it, and there you go. So simple, so quick, so incredible. Let's also delete a task. Awesome. Super easy. And this grid view or table has amazing features out of the box. Like you can search, PHP, Y, great. You can also pizza. You can also sort by any column. Super cool. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. See you in the next one.